I am so nervous right now because this is a video that I never imagined that I would make. I feel like no one really imagines that they would ever have to like go through something like this, through infertility, through issues with your health, and this entire experience has just made me realize more than one thing, to be grateful for good health and that you can plan and plan and plan your life all you want, but ultimately in the end, your body's gonna do what it's gonna do and God has the last say. So I am honestly just so nervous to make this video because I don't even know where to start. Last year, Mitch and I started trying to conceive and it did not work. We don't have a baby. And I want to kind of rewind a little bit because I posted a video a couple of months ago about a surgery that I had which plays into all of this, but I need to kind of start from the beginning so that the story can make sense. So I have notes in my phone so I don't forget anything. Also, Mitch is going to jump in at the end of the video to kind of just like talk about his feelings on things, but I really wanted to just sit down one-on-one and talk about what this journey has been like for me and what I've gone through, and then Mitch is gonna come in at the end. So don't worry, he's gonna be here, but I think we need to start all the way at the beginning. About 16, 17 months ago, this was at the beginning of March of 2025. And I woke up one day, a week before I was supposed to get my period, and I was bleeding, and I was so confused because I've been someone who's always had like super regular periods. Painful periods, heavy periods, yes, but they have always been like clockwork, like come on the same exact day, one day give or take every single month. So this was very strange for me because I always like track my period. I knew when it was coming, and when I saw that, I was in shock. I was like, wait, what? Like, do I have my days mixed up? Like, what is going on? That was the day that started this entire health journey, fertility journey. So when that happened, I was like, okay, I need to like book a yearly checkup, like my primary, like with my primary care doctor, like a yearly annual checkup, kind of mention it, see what's going on. Maybe this is just a one-off. I don't really know what's going on. So I do that. I do some blood work. I do a pap smear, like things come back normal. So I'm like, okay, weird. I don't know what's going on. My doctor didn't really like say anything about it. And so because of that, I switched to a different doctor. And because the spotting occurred again the next month, I was like, okay, there's definitely like gonna be a pattern here, like something's up. So I went to a naturopathic doctor because I really wanted to go like the natural route. Anything that I could do naturally first felt like the best option for me. I didn't want to go straight into like doing medicine or anything. So I go to my naturopathic doctor, tell her what's going on. She sends me for a cervical ultrasound. I do that and it comes back with like, what is it called? Oh, a follicular cyst. So that wasn't really a concern for her. She said it would go away on its own. But then we opted to do a bunch of blood work. I'm talking like the whole shebang, like blood work for vitamins, food allergies, my thyroid, my hormone levels. So what comes back is that my estrogen levels were pretty dominant over my progesterone, and my doctor really wanted to get a handle on that. So she was having me on pretty strict like supplement regimen. I was taking like 14 to 16 vitamins a day. She was asking me to cut out dairy, gluten, and sugar for like 6 weeks to just see if any of this stuff would make a change. Also recommending that like I don't wear, you know, fragrances or like burn candles. So I was like not wearing perfume. I was changing my laundry detergent to be like free and clear, like my dish soap, everything. I was doing everything possible to like hopefully make this go away. I cut out all my strenuous workouts, like HIIT workouts, anything that I felt like, okay, this is putting stress on my body. I was like, I'm not gonna do it because that could very well be causing this. This is about like 5 months later that the spotting is still happening every month. But we were also wanting to get pregnant. So we were finally ready. We were like, okay, let's begin this journey, you know? And I really didn't think anything of the spotting that like would be, like I knew it was a red flag, but I wasn't like, okay, this is gonna like hinder me from being able to get pregnant. Like, I never thought of that until we started trying to conceive, and it was month 3, month 4, I was like, okay, like, I think this might be the issue. First of all, trying to conceive is such an emotionally draining and taxing journey, especially when it doesn't happen on the first try. Like, I was so naive to think that we could get pregnant on the first try. I thought I was so healthy, and honestly, I thought this before the spotting happened. I just thought I was so healthy and that it wasn't going to be an issue and we were going to get pregnant on the first try. I'm so freaking naive for thinking that. Just hindsight, I'm like, oh my gosh, Destiny, like, you were too confident. I remember on the second month that we tried, I was still having the spotting, but I was like 4 days late on my period. And like I was saying, I was like never late on my period. It always came on time. So I was wholly convinced that we were pregnant. And I think I might still have the footage from recording taking the pregnancy test. But I remember taking it and it was negative. And I was just so angry that day. I was like devastated. And that's kind of when I started thinking, okay, the spotting is probably something that is making this very difficult and is gonna make this very difficult to get pregnant and stay pregnant, especially because it's in my entire luteal phase. I'm spotting for like anywhere from like 8 to 10 to 12 days during that time. So it's like weeks of just bleeding. And so yeah, hindsight, I'm like, I can't even believe I thought like it wouldn't be an issue to try to get pregnant while this is happening. I also think one of the hardest parts about waiting every month to see if I was pregnant was the fact that if I started spotting, then I knew I wasn't pregnant before the 2-week wait is over to even start testing to see if I was pregnant. I think that was that was like the saddest part. I don't want to cry. I've cried so much about this. I've had so much therapy, crying sessions with friends and Mitch, and that was just definitely the hardest part. Was just like every month, like knowing I'm not pregnant because I started to spot before I could even take a pregnancy test. And like I said, the first or second try, I already like took a pregnancy test despite the spotting because I thought that it wasn't like a big deal. But then the next month we tried, I was also really convinced that we were pregnant. We were like, I felt nauseous for days on end. And I was like, yeah, we're pregnant for sure. Like, I've never felt this way, blah, blah, blah. I was so convinced, telling Mitch we were like excited. But we went on a trip to Oregon. And that entire trip, I was trying to make sure I was doing things that weren't gonna cause me to not be pregnant. So I was like not turning on my seat warmer like in the car because like, oh, if it's like too much heat, you like might have a miscarriage or something like that. Like, that is the mindset that I got into. And then on that trip, a couple days later, after I ended up bleeding again, and I was like, well, for sure not pregnant. And it was so hard to like stay in the moment and happy on that trip towards the end when that happened, because I was like in such a good like mental spot for that little short period of time thinking I was pregnant. Was so excited, so happy. I just started picturing like our entire life. It wasn't even just always about, oh, like I want to get pregnant, but I'm not pregnant. It was that I had already been dealing with the health issues for like 5, 6, 7 months at this point. And so I was just so over it because I'm like, I couldn't find the answers to what was happening to me during my luteal phase. Like half the month I was genuinely, and still am because it's still happening, but so down on life, so depressed for half the month, just feeling like there's a dark cloud over my head following me everywhere, consuming all of my thoughts. That's been the hardest part of all of this, just like the mental battle of like not having answers and not knowing what's going on. So after trying for like 4 months, I was like, I need a break from all this. I just need like a mental health break from like trying. It's like so emotionally draining. I just want to like have a little break, have a little room to think and breathe before like trying, like going into this again. And like during that period of time, I think it was like a month or two that like we took a break. I was just like, I really want to figure out what's going on with my health first before we kind of move into the next phase and like start trying again, because I didn't want it to be a repeat of like getting my hopes up and then getting let down. I ended up finally going to see a gynecologist for the first time ever, which is crazy. I was telling her like all of my symptoms, giving her like all my previous blood work, like results and whatnot, hormone levels. I also have like a smart ring that tracks like my ovulation, like body temperature, stuff like that. During this entire time, my ring every month would be telling me like red flags, essentially, like in your temperature, like what it could mean. And it had been telling me that I had been having like hormonal imbalance. Based on like all the symptoms I was telling my doctor, it sounds like to me that you have endometriosis. We do have to go through like a slew of things to rule them out. The first thing that we did, she wanted me to get an ultrasound on my uterus. So I went and did that, and the results came back that I had a polyp on my uterus. And my doctor was like, yeah, this is very common. Like if you have polyps on your uterine lining, they cause like mid-cycle spotting. She was very confident that this was the issue of my spotting and that it would help stop it if we removed it. So I had to wait like 2 or 3 months after that to finally get the surgery, and that's the last video I ever posted was getting the surgery, and it was for that. A couple of cycles go by and it didn't work. Nothing came of it, which was very frustrating because I thought that that was gonna be the answer, you know? I thought like, my doctor is so confident, like this is definitely gonna be the answer to what's been happening to me for the past year, you know? When I told my doctor that that didn't work, she was like, yeah, that's very suspicious. Maybe I have low progesterone based off of what my previous naturopathic doctor was saying. And she was like, yeah, if you want to like do like a trial run in your next luteal phase on the progesterone, like we can definitely do that. So that is what I did. And that also did not help. And mind you, this is 16 months later now, and I still don't have answers, and I'm still not pregnant, obviously. It's been like such a waiting game of just like waiting to figure out what's going on, and then we can like start trying without me feeling that really heavy emotional toll of the entire journey, you know what I mean? So the waiting game has just been like such a mind game. The waiting game has been such a mind game. Anyway, I do have next steps with my doctor to kind of just get some blood work done to see what my hormones are doing these days, and then really the next steps go from there. I don't even know what those next steps are, but I feel like I've had so much blood work done, so many tests, surgeries, supplements, everything, and I'm just like so over it at this point. I just want to come out the other end of this and like feel normal and feel like myself again, like in my body and in my mind. Like I said, this has just taken such a huge toll on my mental health, and it really sucks. So that's where we are with that. And I really just wanted to make this video because I feel like for the past year and a half, we've been so MIA on YouTube, and honestly, that's the reason. Ever since this started, like my motivation, my creativity, my drive to do YouTube, to make videos for social media in general has just gone like way down. And I hate that because YouTube was like my first baby. It's like, I love it so much. I love this community that we've created on here so much, and I miss like talking to y'all on a normal basis. So yeah, I just wanted to give you guys some insight into what's been going on, why we've kind of been like MIA on the YouTube videos. I know it sucks. I'm trying to get back in, and I feel like getting this off my chest will like allow me to move forward and feel like I'm not hiding something, but just like going through something alone, because going through issues like this with fertility and your health is like, it can be very isolating, and I have felt very isolated. I honestly haven't even told my family before I'm telling you guys. So I've been carrying this weight. We've been carrying it for a very long time, and I want to just get over this chapter and feel refreshed going into this new chapter of finding out what's going on, and hopefully, having a baby in the future. But I don't really know what that looks like, and I don't know what's next, but I do want to keep you guys updated and in that part of like our lives. All right, we have the man of the hour here now. Because obviously this journey, it takes two to tango, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously this isn't just about me, and Mitch definitely has a different perspective on like what his experience has been like personally, but also like seeing me go through this. So like, what has that been like for you?
Is it different? What have you said already?
Like mentally it's been very challenging for me, mentally and emotionally, especially those 2 weeks out of the month, and then when we were trying to get pregnant, like it was very hard not even being able to take a pregnancy test before I knew we weren't pregnant, because I was spotting. So I think those have been the two biggest things for me. It's just mentally and emotionally, just the journey in general.
Yeah, well, I think it's been very taxing on you. But I wouldn't say it's different. It's been hard. I think I come at it with maybe a different mindset.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
Not like discounting that it's hard. It's also not me going through all this pain. However, I mean, I've been on hands and knees praying at times, just because of the emotional toll. And, there's been some very, very painful moments for you that I'm not going through it, but I'm going through it, Mm-hmm. So there's definitely been those moments. I think where my mindset, maybe, I wouldn't say different, but it's just, I think ahead a little bit, I guess.
Well, it is different, because I think ahead, but like,
well, let me say it and then we'll see. Because I want to have a kid, and I want to do the things we need to try to get over this, to have a family and to have a baby. Mm-hmm. But I think where my different mindset comes in is that I'm not holding out on that being like, if this doesn't happen, oh, my life and everything is ruined, and I'm not, like, what good am I if we can't have kids, and what is life going to be? I try to always have that foundation of life has meaning and purpose regardless of what God sends our way, because we stem from Him, right? Mm-hmm. We stem from God, and we're made in His image, and the kingdom of heaven is within us, and there's always that piece of us, regardless of God, allows us to have children, or if God forbid He doesn't, we still have meaning and value and purpose in this life because we're still made in His image. Mm-hmm. And just because if God forbid this ends in us not being able to have children, I still want us to know that we have purpose and meaning in this life, even regardless. And after going through this, we were talking about this yesterday, but going through this, if that is the case, we have no idea where God will take our heads, where our minds will be, what new things we'll try to do. Adoption's always out there. We don't know. We haven't even thought about that. But just to hold on to these possibilities beyond what we have planned for us, because as we know, as many of you know, God does not always abide by our plans. It is up to Him. He guides and directs, and we have to submit ourselves to that will. And so, and there's also kind of just an understanding that is a possibility out there that many other people have had to suffer through as well. The reality that they're not able to have children, even though they've tried and tried. So because it has happened to other people, it may happen to us. And I just always want to keep that in mind. To not bring ourselves to this moment, oh, this is so unfair, why us? Well, why others, you know? And it's a part of life for many people out there. I know people personally who have tried and tried. Some people have tried and tried and then succeeded, so you never know, even after, you know, a miscarriage or something like that. But I've also known people who can't. And so it's in the Bible, you know, it's been happening for thousands and thousands of years. But I want to keep our hopes up without being absolutely crushed if those hopes don't come true and don't come to life. I always want to know that we are still human beings. We're not any less of a man or a woman because we can't do those things. And we've struggled through that, you know, like the first time it was very hard on Destiny because it didn't happen the first month. And even when, you know, you're perfectly healthy, that's usually pretty rare. So I always want to just keep realistic expectations in check, but also to know that our life doesn't end if these plans don't come forward. You know, I can think of several ways to have a meaningful life and to give the time that, you know, we would have given to a child to something else very meaningful and you know, purposeful and whatnot. But you know, with all that said, I think we're both on the same page that we would like to have children and we would like to go and have a family and build that family. But I also know that isn't always in the cards for other people. So it's a reality that we may have to face, and
a hard reality, especially for well, obviously for both of us, but like
Yeah, and it's not to say everything I just said. It's not to say that it won't be hard, and like if it doesn't happen, we go, oh well, let's go next. You know, let's do the next thing. No, it'll be a moment of mourning that future that we had in store for ourselves, that idea and dream. You know, there would definitely be a mourning period and a very sad period of just coming to terms with that. So it's not taking away the hardship of that. It's just to say that, well, it is a reality that we may have to face, and to always keep that in mind. And I think that's important to not be absolutely crushed by whatever happens. And so I think that's where we're at. That's where my head's at. And I've come to this because I've had to do my own exploration of, all right, what does this mean? You know, like I'm reading a lot of philosophy on topics like this, you know, and I think that's been helpful, because I don't know if you can hear, but there is emotion in my words right now, and I'm trying to hold that back, you know, because it is a hard topic, you know, and that's why you want to prepare for anything. So
yeah. It's a lot. And I don't want to talk about it too much more, because then I'll start crying again. I've cried so much over this.
I think it's also good to know it's okay to cry. It's okay. Right? This is a hard topic. I just know that we'll get through it no matter what. And
I'm just glad I have you, because like your optimism and hopefulness like really helps me.
Yeah. It's sometimes hard, you know, when people sometimes say, oh, you know, it's His will, it's God's will, submit to God's will, it's up to Him. That's really hard when when his will is totally opposite of what you planned for, you know. And I think that's when that phrase really even matters, is when your will and his will don't align. And he's saying, no, you're not going to have that, but here's the route I have in store for you if you're willing to follow it.
Yeah.
And I think that that is always important to keep in mind in everything you do in life. And I know I've had dreams crushed, you know, right? From small ones to big ones. I really wanted to win regionals when I was in hockey, but it didn't happen.
Wah, wah.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
But, you know, it's definitely moments like this where you have to keep in mind that he's always looking out for you, even though you question
it.
Right, yeah, and you can't see it. You know.
Yeah.
I think when you read the Psalms, you really understand. Even David, you know, was like, "Why have you forsaken me?"
Yeah.
You know, even Jesus was quoting that, you know. And,
literally.
So, you know, if he put Jesus on the cross, what is he going to do to us? You know, and I think that's what bearing our cross really means, especially in times like this.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I think when you accept that, I don't know. I think sometimes there's a test there to see if we're willing to.
Yeah.
You know. And, so, yeah, it's been rough. It's been hard. It's been a long journey. We've been trying a lot of things to figure this out. And we know a lot of you have always wanted to see a little rolling running around. But yeah, just have patience. Pray for us, please.
And no more asking when we're going to have kids. Because we've been trying.
Right. We know it's out of a good heart. Though.
No, I know.
You're not They're not trying to be hateful or whatever. It's out of love, so we understand that.
Yeah. All right. Well, enough crying. I'm sick of crying. Yeah, I don't know how much more going forward there is to share or that we'll share, but
Yeah, we'll keep you updated.
yeah, here and there. So I don't know. If you have any other questions, now is the time to ask in the comments.
Yeah, and if there's enough, maybe we'll do a Q&A or something like that.
So love you guys. Thanks for watching, listening, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yeah. Peace out, guys.
Bye.